Hashem said so is reason enough. Religious Zionists don't need to beg for permission from the postmodern court. By Na'amah Devine. There is no magic dirt and no magic argument. Placing someone someplace, no matter the length of time, doesn't make them retroactively originate there, and there's no point in arguing with people who are dedicated to believing that it works that way. We Jews who stand unapologetically for Zionism are constantly pressured to translate our ancient, indigenous claim into the language of our enemies. We're told to water down our covenant, dress it up in secular academic jargon, or credit some movement with concepts utterly alien to our tradition. Meanwhile, the other side gets to cite divine command without scrutiny. This double standard is not a bug. It is the main feature of a world that mocks Jewish particularism while indulging everyone else's. Muslims invoke Allah's will as the foundation of their actions, their conquests, their societies. No one demands they produce a peer-reviewed paper proving why they believe what they believe. The world largely shrugs and says, that's their faith. Yet, when Jews say the Creator promised the land to Abraham's descendants, that the Torah is eternal law for our people, and that our presence in Israel is the fulfillment of that promise, suddenly it's a punchline. You can't use religion, they sneer. The same voices who cheer 37 fluid genders and insist that words mean whatever they feel like today suddenly become strict originalists and realists, only when it comes to delegitimizing Jews. This is intellectual cowardice wrapped in moral posturing. Indigenous does not mean we've squatted long enough. Let's speak plainly about indigeneity, because words still have meanings even if the Academy has abandoned them. The Jewish people originated in the land of Israel. Abraham began the Hebrew journey there. The conquest of Canaan under Joshua established our sovereignty. The kingdoms of Israel and Judah, the prophets, the temple, all rooted in that specific soil. We were exiled, we returned, we were exiled again, and we returned again. Our language, calendar, holidays, and national identity are inseparable from this land. This is not settler colonialism. It is the oldest continuous national liberation movement in human history, and if you don't understand that, we don't really owe you an explanation. Arabs, by contrast, are not indigenous to the Levant. Their origins lie in the Arabian Peninsula. The spread of Arabic language, culture, and Islam into the region came through conquest and empire, standard imperial history, not some primordial birthright. Other groups who planted flags there, Romans, Byzantines, Crusaders, Ottomans, British, were occupiers and administrators. Length of stay does not magically transform an invader or migrant population into the indigenous one. If I live in your ancestral home for 80 generations, that does not make your father my father. It makes me a long-term tenant, perhaps, but the deed was never transferred. Pretending history begins the moment your preferred victim group appears on the scene is not scholarship, it is propaganda. As Europe becomes Islamicized and Arabist, you will see them also begin to spout claims of indigenuity in Europe as well. Does anybody remember the cover story, The New Europeans? In the grand scheme of things, it won't be long before they claim to be the old Europeans and cast the previous inhabitants essentially as prehistoric. The obsession with blood quantum in certain pro-Palestine indigenous claims is particularly ridiculous, and reveals how colonizers have long weaponized pseudoscience to erase native peoples. European settlers in the Americas imposed fractional blood requirements to shrink recognized tribal membership over generations, effectively defining indigenous identity out of existence. 1/4, 1/8, eventually not enough. It was bureaucratic genocide dressed up as administrative rigor, and we see the pro-Palestine Arabs copying this colonialist erasure to this day. By contrast, Jewish identity has never been reducible to race or DNA thresholds. We are a tribe and a people bound by covenant, not blood purity tests. A Jewish soul can reside in a body born to any lineage, Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Mizrahi, or a convert from the farthest corner of the earth, because Judaism accepts sincere Jerem, converts, as full members of the eternal people. Our enemies traffic in racial myths and supremacist blood obsessions. We do not. Unlike them, we are not actually racist. We are a nation that welcomes those who join our destiny, while fiercely guarding our indigenous homeland. We do not owe you a debate. Our connection to the land is not contingent on convincing skeptics. We do not need to prove the Creator to those who reject Him. Our scripture is not up for negotiation in some interfaith come-by seminar. The Torah is the constitution of the Jewish people, eternal, binding, and prior to every secular ideology that has come and gone. The postmodern world wants us to play by its ever-shifting rules, deconstruct identity, question everything except the latest sacred victim narrative, and above all, never assert Jewish strength without apology. But the Jewish Panthers were never about seeking approval from those who hate us. We are about Jewish power, Jewish survival, and Jewish truth. This is a holy war, whether the faint-hearted among us like the phrase or not. Our enemies say so openly, in charters, sermons, and streets. They celebrate when Jewish blood flows. Why then, do some Jews insist on treating Islamist rejectionists, neo-Nazis and kafiyas, and their Western enablers as worthy debate partners? You would not demand black nationalists give the KKK a respectful platform to both sides their existence. Why do we keep offering our enemies the rope with which they intend to hang us? Those unprepared to stand firmly on our religious and historical traditions, Those who would rather debate themselves into irrelevance while enemies sharpen their knives should step aside. Focus on humanitarian work, diplomacy, or whatever suits your temperament. The hour demands warriors who know who they are and why this land is theirs. Not more diplomats negotiating with people who view our very existence as the problem. Stand firm. We are not required to launder our indigenous, covenantal claim through foreign ideologies to make it palatable. The land of Israel is ours by divine promise, ancestral right, historical continuity, and the blood and sweat of generations who rebuilt it from swamp and sand. The Creator does not need the United Nations' permission. Neither do we. Jewish Panthers stand for unapologetic Jewish sovereignty, Jewish strength, and Jewish truth in our time. The definitions have not changed. The promise has not been revoked. And we will not beg. Join at http://thejdl.us. Never again. We mean it. Am Yisrael Chai. Jewish Panthers is a reader-supported publication. To receive new posts and support this work, consider becoming a paid subscriber.